Hi everyone, Miss Stillman here. This is homework 8 key pages 1 and 2. This is going to be the first video of the homework checking for Mr. Kruger's class, Miss Stillman's class, and Mrs. Berthel's class. If you take a look at question 1, you're going to see that the angles that are told to us to be congruent are marked in. So I just made the markings bold so I can see it. Look at Z. Angle Z has 2 markings on either side. It kind of looks like vertical angles, but it's not. They're just across from each other. Now, if we're trying to do a sequence of similarity transformations, that would be any of the rigid motions plus a dilation. We're trying to get triangle XYZ onto triangle UVZ. Notice how I labeled pre-image and image. I do the same thing on the triangles over here. I first see maybe it's a reflection. Does angle Z go on angle V? Nope. It goes around to angle U. That's a rotation. So then we're very specific. You see that you rotate triangle XYZ around Z. That's the point that the two triangles touch at, so that XZ maps onto UZ. That whole side is going to end up over here. They line up like that. Okay, then you're going to dilate triangle XYZ. It's centered at Z. You always talk about the center. It's again where they touch, and then the dilation will happen out of it. And then it's going to be by a scale factor of UZ over XZ. Remember, we don't talk about numbers when there are no numbers in the problem. It's not a dilation of 2 or a dilation of 3. It is a dilation of, we can use these sides again. I like to refer back to the ones. It could have been other sides, but because I referred to UZ, I might as well use that as the image over pre-image. That's scale factor. Now the next question is explaining why the triangles are similar. Back in lesson 1, we learned that if the angles are congruent, the corresponding angles, then we know that the triangles are similar. And that's my little explanation over here. And look at all the angles. I made sure they all checked up. Okay, number 3. It's asking for scale factor. Remember, it's image over pre-image. We want to know that the number that has to do with regular AB, that's the pre-image, but the one with prime notation is the image. Image of 7 over pre-image of 28. You simplify that fraction 1/4. So 28, if you divided it by 4, you could check and get 7. The last question on the page is looking for a transformation where the triangles are not congruent. Well, a translation, rotation, reflection, those are all going to produce congruent images. Those are rigid motions. So the last one is a dilation with a scale factor of 2. Not a scale factor of 1, but scale factor of 2. So you know it is going to get larger. That creates similar triangles. So they are not congruent. Now on the next page, it was more of calculation based. We make sure we label the segments that they give us. When they refer to CA, I would like to draw a bracket because it's the whole thing that the whole side is 62 long. When they ask for EB, that's the unknown, but because I have a bracket on the left, that made me think, draw a bracket on the right and find Y first. That's how I set it up. 54 over 62 equals 58 over Y, or you could do 54 over 58 equals 62 over Y. That's because the 54 and the 58 can match across, or 54 and 62 can match and correspond. And now there's how you solve it. Remember, if you got Y, the whole side is 66 and some decimals, then you subtract out the 58, and that's how you get X by itself. Some people could have also done this as a side splitter. If you did 62 minus 54, it would have been 54 over that number equals 58 over X. On the next problem, look at how the triangles are similar. I just matched it up to make sure I knew which sides were going to match up. 7X compared to 7, 4 compared to X. When you solve and get X is 2, just make sure you know that's just X. They want AB. So you plug in 7 times 2 is 14. The answer is 14. Now the last question is on doing a dilation of a half. You're going to notice you can multiply by a half with your calculator, or you can multiply, well, in your head, by half, or you can divide by 2, and those are your answers. Next video to come shortly.